Hey guys, Neely here. I am working on some food prep for our vacation and I thought I'd share that with you guys. I did my grocery shopping this morning and I already did my grocery haul video and posted that, and now I'm just working on getting everything put together and thinking through all the stuff that we need for our trip. We are going to a beach house with my husband's family for a week. So this is kind of our longest vacation that we've had, at least all together as a family, in quite a long time. So it's a lot of work to get there and to be there, but I'm trying as hard as I can to do all the work up front, so I can kind of relax when I'm there as much as possible. I mean, how when you have all your kids with you, how can you ever fully relax? But I wanted to try to get as many of the meals prepped and just as much as I could get done here before we leave as possible. So I will show you what I've got so far. I am doing some of the freezer cooking tomorrow. I've just done a little bit of prep to make it easier when I do it tomorrow, and then I've just been pulling stuff out and getting it kind of set out so I can just start thinking through everything that we need, and I just keep adding to the pile whenever I think of something. So I'll show you my pile so far. These actually I'm not taking. I am making a huge batch of waffles, and I actually have the flour ground over here, and I'm gonna cook those tomorrow, and that's what I'm gonna take to the beach. I'm gonna take already cooked waffles. I didn't want to try to take my waffle maker with me. That would have been too much. So I'm going to make a bunch and have them in bags, and the kids will love that. But I just threw together all the dry ingredients tonight so that in the morning when I go to cook them, I can just throw all the wet ingredients in and they'll be ready to go. But since I was grinding the sunflower seeds and getting the dry ingredients done for the beach house, I went ahead and did a couple more bags that I'm just going to stick in the freezer, and so they will be all ready for when we get home. I can just, whenever we're ready to make waffles, add the wet ingredients. I wrote on here everything I needed to add. I reused these bags from last time I did it, and I did it a little differently. So last time I did 2 recipes worth of dry ingredients. This time I did 3 recipes worth. That's why it looks all messy. But anyways, so I'll add the eggs, the applesauce, and the oil, and then those will be all ready to cook. So I'm going to stick those in the freezer here at home, and that'll be nice for when I get home. I won't have to, I'll just have a few things that are ready to go in the freezer so that I don't have to run to the store and start cooking from scratch as soon as we get home. And then this is the stuff that is going to the beach so far. This my husband brought. He loves black licorice, so he got those. And then parchment paper. Of course, I can't live without parchment paper. These 2 bags are the dry ingredients for pizza dough. I am going to do pizza one night. We're kind of switching off nights of cooking as far as dinner goes. There's my mother-in-law and father-in-law that are going to be there, and then my brother-in-law and sister-in-law. And so the 3 different families are switching off every 3rd night. So I only really have 2 nights that I have to cook dinner for everybody. But one of those nights we're going to do pizza. And so I have this, the yeast and the salt and the flour all put in the bag here, and all I have to do is add 4.5 cups of water to each of these bags and let them rise. It's the no knead dough, so if I start it in the morning on the day that I want to make the pizza, by the evening time it will be ready to go. And I'm gonna buy all the pizza toppings there. We're not bringing everything from home that we're gonna be eating all week. We just don't have a big enough car to be able to transport all that stuff. So I just figured getting all of this stuff prepped will just make it easier, so that's why I'm bringing the flour, but then everything else will just be easy to pick up once we're there. And then on 1 or 2 different mornings, I will do German pancakes, or Dutch baby pancakes that they're also called. I have a video on these. I can link to that down below, but I put, same thing, I just put in the dry ingredients in here, and then I have listed on the bag how much of the wet ingredients I need to add, and this will be a huge breakfast for all of us there. So that'll be nice to have those ready to go. Barbecue sauce, that's my husband's favorite that we're bringing along. Macadamia nuts, that will be a nice, healthy, quick munchy food, something that's easy to like throw in a bag and put in your pocket if you're gonna go on a long walk on the beach or something like that. PB2, I'm bringing that for me. When I'm there, I'll pick up some 0% Greek yogurt. That's one of my favorite easy meals, PB2 and Greek yogurt. And then also I bought a couple of boxes of the K-Cups. I don't have a Keurig, but my brother-in-law and sister-in-law are bringing theirs, and that'll be so nice just to make coffee super easily. So I bought a couple of packs of those just for me. My husband doesn't drink coffee, so those are just for me. Now, I made these this evening, and these are for before we leave, and if there are any left over, we may take them with us, but it's mostly for before we leave, just to have easy food for my husband and for the girls. These are what I call hamamim rolls. I've talked about these before on a different video, and there are a couple different ways I've done it. I've done them where you roll up the dough, and this one has cream cheese and ham. That's what I've shown before in my videos. And I rolled them up and then sliced them before I cooked them, but this time I just rolled it up into like a big loaf and then baked it and then cut it afterwards. And so it just gives a little bit different effect, kind of a pinwheel, ham pinwheel type thing. But the kids love these. And then this one is a little bit different. I did ham and barbecue sauce and pepper jack cheese, and they both are super amazing, delicious. And this dough is the exact same dough that I did for the pizza dough that I just showed you before, and I'll link down below to that no knead bread dough. I use that recipe for pizza, for cinnamon rolls, for these kind of things, for like cinnamon pull-apart bread, for hot dog wraps. That's just my go-to dough that I use for just about anything. Then as far as freezer cooking, I am going to make a giant batch of chicken strips, and this is the same thing I showed you last month, and the same thing I have a video on, so I'll link that down below. Grain-free sweet potato flour breaded chicken strips. I've made the breading already, and then so that's sitting here ready to go as soon as I'm ready to do that tomorrow. And then I'm going to, the second meal that I'm making for everyone while we're there is the pork, black bean, and sweet potato stew that I did a video on just a couple weeks ago. I'll also link that down below. But I am going to turn it into a freezer meal, which I've never done before, but I think it should work out no problem. So I will go through that tomorrow with you guys when I put it together. The main thing that I need to do is make sure after I dice the sweet potatoes and put them in the freezer bag that I cover them with the broth and make sure that they're completely covered in liquid before I freeze them, because you don't want to just take a raw sweet potato and freeze it without it being encased in some sort of liquid. That's what I hear. I don't have a lot of experience with freezer cooking, but that's one rule that I have heard. So that's what I'm going to do, and hope it turns out. So I'm gonna call it a night tonight and pick up in the morning with all of these things. I've done a lot of prep work so that in the morning, after the kitchen is cleaned, I will be able to come in and just kind of bust things out really fast, and I will show you when I get there.